All right, now let's do the Yom Yom, the Dvar Malchut. There we go. Here we are, yeah. Okay, so we said like this. What happened in the month of Adar? The month of Adar is a happy month. One reason that the month of Adar is a happy month, because that's the month that the Jewish people, when they were in the desert, they built the tabernacle. The tabernacle was finished, open for business on the first day of Nisan, almost a year after the Jews left Egypt. And but the building of it was really consummated, was finished. The building of it was in the month of Adar. And therefore, it's a month that everything is healthy. And that's hinted at also by Zahav. Zahav is a Zeha Noten Bari. It says this is giving of charity when you're healthy. You have no benefit yourself from it. You're just giving to others. Not a person is sick, so he gives charity to get better or to get. Which, by the way, let's have this person give me a thing here. Should be a refuah shleima for Yosef ben Rachel. Yosef Misha Berachel ben Yaakov. We have Yosef ben Rachel. He's making an operation today. Okay. Ever since the war started here in Israel, so every day I go, like for a half an hour, 40 minutes, I go to the nearby hospital and I stand outside in this big sort of open square they have over there, and I put tefillin on people. And a lot of people put on tefillin. I mean, in a half an hour, 10 people, sometimes even more, they put on tefillin. And one of them was a person they take out on a bed, and he asked me to make a blessing for him. So Yosef ben Rachel should have he's making an operation today. Here we go. So he said, therefore, every Jew is gold, and that's why gold was the first element in the temple, and that's why the tabernacle, the first the request of God that the Jews should bring gold, and that is why the Jews have the power to make a holy temple at all, because every Jew is gold, and every Jew is holy. That was given to us at Mount Sinai. Yeshlama, we can say, Shazui, this is also the connection of when Adar comes, the month of Adar comes in, we should be happy. This year there's 2 Adars, so we have to be double happy. That's why it says when the month of Adar comes in, that you increase happiness. This comes in the Gemara. It says that the month of Adar has a healthy mazal. It's a good luck month. And it says when Adar comes in, you should be happy. A simcha haki gadol, the greatest happiness that could possibly be by a Jew, is kasher yudea, when he knows shebakol matzav shehu, whatever condition situation he's in, afilu lamata mata, even if it's the lowest place possible, he's in Auschwitz, God forbid. Ba'olam, in this world, shebechitzoni is nira behelam vehester alalakus, when it seems that there is no God. Who kashur lekodesh baruch hu, nevertheless he's attached to God. When a Jew feels that God is always with him, no matter where he is, and that he's there for a purpose, because then even when he is found lamata, in below a soul and a body, nevertheless, who ben Yachid is the only son of the King of Kings, God. The Jewish people, every Jewish person is the son of God. The previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Yosef Yitzchok, so he was sentenced to death. He was taken by the communists. This was 1927. He was taken by the common Jews, by the way, and some of them were even had been Chabad Hasidim, that they just totally left Judaism. And they became murderers for the communists. And they took the Rebbe and they put him into prison with the hope that they would kill him immediately when they got there. And it ended up there was a confusion. He wasn't killed, but he was beaten up and he was tortured over the. And of course, it was cold. Russia, it's cold. It was. And the Rebbe said that after he got out, he said that the torture that I experienced in prison was awful. It was terrible. He said, but that's not even one a small comparison to the torture that every soul feels coming from the source of souls into the body. It was a soul before it comes into the body. It feels truth. It feels what God is. It feels reality. When it comes into the body, all of a sudden, reality is a thing that runs away from us. And we're caught in time. And we're affected by time. The soul before it comes into the world is not affected by time. It doesn't get bored. It doesn't get angry. It doesn't be selfish. There's no jealousy, right? There's no confusion, no addictions. No, the soul is pure life. It's hard for us to even imagine what it means, pure good, pure happiness, pure life. That's the soul before it comes into the world. Then it comes into the world, it's exactly the opposite. Said the Rebbe, that's even worse than what happened to me, that this communist put me into prison, because at least he could remember what was before or something like that. Right? And when he was in prison, but the soul coming into the body, it forgets everything. Forgets everything. So he says that just itself is a tremendous, tremendous descent and shock and trauma and torture for the soul. The soul comes into the world. But when a person knows that no matter where he is, that God is with him, and that God personally was the one who put them into the world, the Kodesh Baruch Hu and God said, "Sherishon nechasev shel Yehudim," that the main possession of a Jew is gold. What does it mean, gold? Shegam ba'olam, that even when a Jew is in the world, nechasim gashmis, he's got physical things, and the things take up a place by him. Let's say he's very rich, and all he thinks about is his money and his Ferrari and his, the next door neighbor, he wants to be better. Nevertheless, every single Jew is rich. He's rich spiritually and physically. Every Jew automatically, you're rich. You're a Jew, you're rich. You have the biggest riches of all, namely that God is with you, the creator of the whole world. Well, if he's according to this, Muvanis, it's understood even more. Hashiva, the Gemara, what the Gemara says, when Adar comes in, we're happy. And how does the Gemara say? The Gemara said, just like when the temple was destroyed, when the month of Av comes in, we minimize our happiness. Also, when Adar comes in, we maximize our happiness. Because the novelty is that even when you are in dark, the temple is destroyed, and there is less minimizing happiness. Happiness is waning. Yesh b'koach, the power we have, there's still, nevertheless, just like of makes less, but don't worry about it. There is the month of Adar that can always transform it. So no matter where you are, there's going to be a change. And you can say, okay, the other way goes also. And when it's good, so let's think about bad, right? That when a child is born, say, right, Mazel tov, my wife just gave birth to a baby boy. Says, yeah, but he's going to die. What? Yeah, maybe another 100 years, going to die. What do you think about that now? Says, that's the way things go. The bad becomes good and the good becomes bad. Says the Rebbe, listen, the fact of the matter is that the good becomes bad. We see that with our eyes. There's no doubt about that. The fact that the soul came into the body, that's bad. And in fact, there's nothing worse than that. The soul is in a perfect place before it comes into the body, that's bad. But that the bad will become good, that's our work. And that for sure it's going to happen. And that should give us tremendous happiness, because the good that we make by means of serving God in this world, it's not going to become bad again. It's going to be pure godliness, and God is good, right? Just think, if Adam would not have eaten from the tree, there would be no death in the world. And some days you tell that to people, and they say, no death, well, it would be boring. There would be no boredom in the world either. Every moment would be brand new, a surprise, which that's the fact. It is a surprise. Every moment is an amazing gift, a miracle. That's a fact. So when we feel that God is with us all the time, and that God is creating us, right? God is creating us all the time. That's what these people, these missionary people, they come, they say, you're a sinner, you're saved. I say to them, saved from what? I don't understand from what. God loves everybody. If you're alive, it's a sign that God loves you. If you exist, it's a sign that God loves you. It could be you're messing the whole thing up, so change your ways. Change the way you act. That's all. But essentially, you're good. It's there. It is. The good is there. God is always with you, and that's one of the big messages of Moshiach, that God is always with everybody. He's creating everybody, and that's the happiness of the month of Adar. Month of Adar is the opposite of the month of Av. The month of Av says when the month of Av comes, which is terrible tragedies, that the first and the second temple were destroyed. In many ways, it was much worse than the Holocaust, if you can say a thing like that. I mean, the Holocaust was worse in a way that it was concentrated, intentional torture for 5 years. They tortured, right? But here, the Jews have been in exile for 2,000 years. 2,000 years. And if you add up all the inquisitions and the whatever it is, the crusades and all these things that tortured the Jews for all the communism and that tortured the Jews, as in a way it's much longer, right? It's much longer, the 2,000 years that we've been in. But says the Rebbe, what do we got to be happy about? That God is with us. God is with us in every second. And any second, it's going to all stop. We've been saying that for 2,000 years, but nevertheless, when a Jew, mitbonen, thinks, harizem mevioto, it brings him to simcha gedola, to a tremendous happiness. Forget about what was, think about what's going to be. The simcha kazeh, this happiness, shemeshaneh et chayev, it changes a person's life, physical life. Shechai olam, that the life of the world becomes mehetem legeduria tev of olam, that all of a sudden it changes the physical world that is, and even the nature of the world. Techunas simcha, this idea of being happy, who he is, shapola, it brings about the choderes, and it permeates bekol inyani adam, and everything that a person does. Because adam sameach, when a person is happy, who chai chayim smichim, his life is a happy life. Simcha shepoelas al kol masav, happiness that spreads out to everything that he does. Al davar shabo ito b'magan, everything that comes in contact with him. Hu mesameach gam achirim, it makes other people happy. Right? So, listen, somebody has to break the how do you say, the wheel of unhappiness, of misery, right? I'm miserable, so I make my kids miserable. So my kids are miserable, so they make everybody in their class miserable. And everybody in the class is miserable, so the teacher is miserable. The teacher's miserable, he makes his kids miserable, so they make everybody in their class miserable, and then their teacher are miserable. And then so somebody has to be that people are making you miserable, but you don't make anybody else miserable.
We got an email.
Right, there has to be that.
Poem from Rabbi Gordon Shear. I emailed him like last week or 2 weeks ago.
I don't know who's talking, but I would appreciate it if you didn't. Hello.
About Sunday share, but for some reason today I get something about.
Okay. Okay, so it makes other people happy as well. The kol pulas of kanira b'mochash. In other words, nosav lakach, in addition to this, that by means of happiness, nasa ben olam haba, it says because of happiness and making other people happy, that you go to heaven. What does it say? Where did you get that from? It says there's a Gemara, the rabbis say there's a Gemara, and the Gemara says, there's 71, in Tainus, a Gemara in Tainus. So it says that Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi used to be visited by the Moshiach. He used to be visited by Eliyahu Navi. I'm sorry, he used to be visited by Elijah the prophet regularly. So, so Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi said, do me a favor, show me in the marketplace, we're going to walk in the marketplace, thousands of people in the marketplace, show me people that for sure are going to go to heaven. So he said, sure. He says, those two, who were they two? Two jokers. You figured he would show them, these big rabbis with big beards, they're walking around saying words of Torah all the time. They're very austere, they give blessings or whatever. He says, no, two jokers that were making everybody happy. They're saying to Joe, how is things today? How are you feeling? How's your foot? How's your this? Right? Making little jokes, making people happy. Shtei badchanim. Here it is. Where is this? Where did I go over here? There it is. Oh, I said, here we go. Here we go. Hanach Badchi, these two jokers, shesamechim v'mesamchim b'nei adam, that they are happy and they make other people happy. B'nei alma da'asi, these people are going to go to heaven. There were a lot of times that comedians came in front of the Rebbe, comedians, Jewish comedians, a lot of times not religious Jewish comedians. But people told him the Lubavitcher Rebbe is a great person, is a wonderful person, and they brought him, and the Rebbe would say, thank you for making people happy. It's a good thing to make people happy. He becomes, says, these people have a place in the world to come. Also, this is also olam hazeh. Also, this world is also his. Why? Because he feels that God is with him. That his life in this world, they are true life, it's true life, happy and successful. Being happy and having a good attitude, namely thinking that the Creator is with me and the Creator loves me and the Creator cares about me and he's empowering me to do good things and that I'm never alone, this makes a person happy. And because a person's happy, this opens up the vessel for blessing. This is also found, especially when Rosh Chodesh utter in this year. In this year, Rosh Chodesh is on Tuesday and Wednesday. So we're going to have to skip this a little bit because this year, it was not on Tuesday and Wednesday. This, the Rebbe spoke, was in 1994, I guess. 1994. 1993. This must have been. Is that true? No, it's not true. The Rebbe spoke this in 1992. I'm sorry. 1992. 1992, it happened that the first day of the double utter, it was also double utter, but it happened on Tuesday and Wednesday. Our year, it didn't happen that way. It happened last Friday and Saturday. So that's Gimel Dalim. Let's see if maybe we'll have to skip a little bit of this. That's called giving to the poor. 1 minute. Giving to the poor. Okay. What can we learn from all this? Okay. What can we learn from all this? L'chal l'rosh, first of all, we can learn that God has decided in his holy Torah. 1 minute. God has decided in his holy Torah. The Torah is eternal and it is for all times and for all places. That every single Jew is relevant, first of all, to gold. And simply that every single Jew has to be rich, whether spiritually or physically. Ashirut b'pashtus mamash. That every Jew should actually be wealthy, have money. Yetirim is even more. Lo zu bilvad, not only that, shezet tzarech liot lo, that it should be to him. Ella shelakol echad ve'echad Israel, that each and every Jew is ashirus b'poel, is already rich. Afilu im zeh lo nimsa, even if he doesn't know it, and it's not in his bank account, it doesn't show it. Ein zeh mishum, it's not because shehi lo kayim, it's not because the riches are not there. You are a millionaire. I have my bank account that says that it says I have $1 million, but there's a little minus sign in front of this. So I don't think I'm really a millionaire. Says the Rebbe, you don't see it. And mishum, because a Jew has to reveal it by means of his service. Exactly the opposite. By means that is revealed, this from the darkness, Hari said this becomes in a way Yisron or Min HaChoshech. Just think, if a regular businessman looks in his business account, bank account, and he sees that he's got $1 million, so he's happy. If I have $1 million debt, God forbid, am I worried? And the next day I look in my bank account just to check, maybe I got a little bit less, maybe it's not $1 million, maybe it's 999,000, and I see that instead of a negative sign, the negative sign is erased. It's a plus sign. And I call up the bank and I say, excuse me, I just looked at my bank account. What is your name? Bolton is, yes, you have $1 million in your bank account. Says, can you tell me when did this happen? Yesterday evening. Someone deposited 2 million. Now you got them. They took care of your debt. You got $1 million. So, wow, this is just, I can't believe it. Said, can I talk to the manager? Sure, of course. Hello, Mr. Bold Rabbi. How are you? Is it true? Yes, true, 100%. Wow, I'm really happy, right? The businessman that he yesterday, the day before, whatever, he had $900,000 in the bank, and now he's got $1 million. So he's happy, but not as happy as I am, right? My million all of a sudden came from, and he's not happy just because he only added on 100,000 and I added on 2 million. And I'm happy because the negative turned into a positive. Every dollar, I've been taken from darkness to light. Says that's even a greater happiness. So you should be happy if there are problems or if there are debts, because God is going to transform the whole thing. Tosefas riboy shel shefa ra v'gashmi bracha. It means that if there's bad things, there's going to be a tremendous flow of blessing and success. Ba'ofen shel tikburas achayos. So don't think the only people in the world that are rich are Bill Gates or whatever it is. Every single Jew is rich. And now there might be some people that'll say, one second, if everybody's rich, I don't want it. I want to be better than everybody else. There are people that are like that. If everybody's going to have $1 billion, so I'm not going to be better than anybody else. So God will take care of that also. That's called spiritual richness. That's called being spiritually rich, right? There's one thing to actually be physically rich, and there's another thing to be spiritually rich, and there's another thing to appreciate being physically rich. Appreciate the $1 million that you have. Most people that have $1 billion in the bank, they don't really appreciate it. They don't really appreciate it. There are some, could be they do, and they do good deeds and they do this. But a lot of people that do, they're not happy people. They're for sure not. A person that has $1 billion is not 1,000 times happier than a person that has $1 million. And a person that has $1 million, he's not 1,000,000 times happier than a person that has $1. 1,000,000 times happier. And a lot of times it's exactly the opposite. A person that says, the more money you have, the more miserable you are. Then you start comparing yourself with other people, right? If I have $5, so I see somebody else found a $10 bill, so I'm a little bit jealous of them. But I'm jealous of everybody, right? Everybody has more than me, right? So I'm jealous of all these people, right? Not really. I'm not. All I want is just give me another 5. That's what I'm longing for. Another 5. A person that has $1 million, he's lacking $1 million. Right? He's jealous of all the millionaires. I'm not jealous of a millionaire. I have $1. I'm not jealous of everyone. Except the communists, maybe. The communists don't want anybody to have it. The communists want everybody to be poor. Here the Rebbe is saying, I want everybody to be rich. And you'll appreciate the richness. And the richness will make you happy. And all you'll be thinking about is, how can I improve the world with my richness? Shenasa shitafon shogashmi. There'll be a flood of good things and blessing. That's what the Rambam says is going to be in the days of the Moshiach. There'll be a flood of goodness, and we won't care. It won't make any difference to me. Ach v'rad, it'll only be good things will be done with it. Ad until shezeh, this transforms also the shitafon of bad things, all the confusion of this world, to a flood of good and holiness. Until the preparation for the world will be filled with the knowledge of God, like water fills the ocean. So Jewish people have known a lot of problems, right? And there's also a lot of problems going on right now in the world, and for Jews all over the place, and especially in Israel. Every day you read another soldier gets killed, another. How much more so in our generation, the last generation of exile and the first generation of the redemption. And says the Rebbe, we've already finished all of the essential work to bring Mashiach. It's finished. All there has to be Kabbalah's Pnei Mashiach. What we have to work on now is ourselves, that we really want to receive the Mashiach, actually, that we want to receive this richness. I think I told you the joke, but I can't resist, so I'll tell you the joke again. A very wonderful person told me this joke. I remember. They passed away. Yaakov Pinto, wonderful person. So he told the joke. Said that there was an old man Mr. Whatever it is, an old man, Mr. Tzemach. He lived in a simple house. Anyway, his next door neighbor worked in the lottery office. And the way the lottery would work is they would pull out the number like at 12 o'clock in the night. And then early in the morning, someone would go to this 101 and inform him. And then it would be in the papers. Before the papers came out. So this Mr. Tzemach, the old man, 95 years old, his friend works in the lottery office, and they saw they pulled up Mr. Tzemach's number that he won. So he said to everyone, listen, called the manager, he said, listen, Mr. Tzemach won $50 million. If I go and, if he gets a phone call in the morning that he won the money, he'll have a heart attack and he'll die. He'll have a heart attack and he'll die. Give me permission, I'll go and I'll break the news to him slowly. And they said, okay, but you got to get there like really early in the morning because, we're going to call him up. No, I'll do it. So he ran there in the morning, early in the morning, knocks on the door, and there's Mr. Tzemach. He's ready to go to synagogue to pray. He says, oh, hello, how are you? He says, I'm on my way to pray. He says, listen, Mr. Tzemach, can I talk to you for a second? He says, yeah, but the minyan's going to start. I really sort of late. Sure. If you have something to tell me, sure. Tell me. Maybe sit down. He said, no, let's talk standing up because I don't want to sit down. I haven't got a lot of time. I said, okay, Mr. Tzemach. He said, listen, you know that there's a lottery, right? Of course. I play the lottery sometimes. I put money in the lottery. He says, some people win the lottery. He says, of course people win the lottery. If nobody won, I wouldn't go. Now let me go. We'll talk later. So no, just 1 second. Some people, they win like $1,000. Yeah, of course people win $1,000. Some people win 10,000. Yeah, I know somebody win 10,000. Now let me go, please, young man. Let me go to my store. He says, 1 second. I says, really, I don't have any time. Some people win $1 million. He says, okay, some people win $1 million. Some people win $2 million. Please let me go to Daven. He says, listen, Mr. Tzemach, you won. I said, what? He says, you won $50 million. You won the. I said, I won the $50 million. He says, listen, what am I going to do with the $50 million? You know what? You take the money. As soon as the boy heard that, the young man heard that, I won the money. He had a heart attack and he died. Okay, he had a heart attack, got sick. In other words, he wasn't ready to receive so much. That's the same thing with us. We're not ready to receive the big blessing that God wants. And one reason is we're thinking about ourselves. We're not thinking about what to do with the money, right? For others. It says, but this generation, it says, we're rich. And all we have to do is reveal it. That's the way it always has been. And there's going to be a tremendous revelation of good with Moshiach. And Moshiach is supposed to come any second. The time has already come. The halakha has come. How much more so in our generation, the last generation of exile and the first generation of the redemption. After we've finished everything, all we have to do is just receive the Moshiach. Be certainly that God will bless each and every Jew with richness, physical richness with gold, physical gold. O baruchnius, and spiritually, ad la'ofen, until a way, she kashem, just like it says, was when we went out of Egypt. Also, we will see miracles. It says when they left Egypt, it says that every Jew went out with 90 powerful mules full of gold and silver and gold of the Egyptians. And when they crossed over the sea, they even got more. So now we have a teaching that every Jew has to work, has to make an effort to be rich actually in everything that he does, beginning with spiritual richness and ein asher ela badat, to appreciate what we have, that God is with us, appreciate God, how rich we are. He's the king of the world. Now you can't get any better connection than that. To be usher b'Torah, and we should be rich in Torah and the commandments. Ba'ad gam ashiras b'gashmis, until it spreads out to be even physically rich. That we'll be able to do the commandments, the menucha, the nefesh, in a calm way, menucha taguf, in a calm way that our soul won't be confused or bothered or agitated, and our body also, like the Rambam says, and we're able to add and give charity in doing the commandments, commandments behidur, in a special way. Behidur lifnei mehidur, and even more special and more special. Right? Usually I give $1 to charity, I'll give $5, I'll give $10, $100. To use this richness, gold, silver, and copper, in order to make from his house, your individual house, a mishkan b'mikdash Lashem, a tabernacle and a holy temple to God. Invite people over, make it a place where they learn Torah. God said, I will dwell among each and every one of you. Kolel, by means of giving charity and building synagogues and building places of learning, mikdash me'at. And the main thing is to build the third temple. The third temple should come down immediately, actually, after all of the explanations we said that it says, Asuli Mikdash, make me a holy temple, and I will dwell within them, within each and every one of them, including the simple meaning means you want God to dwell in, make a holy temple, and there'll be a place among you that God will live in the temple. But it says also, one of the explanations is that God will live betocham, inside of every Jew. The simple meaning is that there will be built a third temple. True, every Jew is a temple, but the simple meaning is that there will be a third temple, and on the Jewish people, they have to build it. To build a Beit HaMikdash. Whether it's done by means of, by our work, by means of our prayers, by means of our charity. It says that God is going to build it. That'll be by means of all the suffering and all the faith the Jews have had for so long, self-sacrifice. However it's going to be for sure, and we should treat it as though that it's happening right now, and that depends on our efforts. That's what we mean to build a third temple, and that's what we're going to talk about, God willing, tomorrow. God willing, we'll finish this tomorrow. We're starting off on where? Chapter 12, right? No. 11. Is that right? No, we did this already. 11, 12, here we go. Right. There'll be the third temple, build the third temple, how to do it, what to do. Hopefully before tomorrow, it'll already be done. There'll be a third temple. But if God forbid not, so we'll learn about it. The building of the third temple by means of me and you. Now let's learn the Yom Yom.